Hey friends, Practical Ken here. I see you're watching. Thank you for watching. This is actually going to be the adventure I had with sifinds Mudlark Thames. He is an awesome guy. He was great to hang out with. We went to the pub afterwards and chatted for a while. He was gracious enough to allow me to shadow him on some mudlarking on the Thames. The Thames requires, if you're going to mudlark, it requires a permit. He has a permit. I shadowed him and watched what he found. I kind of pointed some things out. He did the discoveries and found stuff and picked stuff up and gave some background information on it. So if you've ever been interested in mudlarking and the Thames in London, Thames River in London, so many cool things have been found there. We're talking thousands of years of history tossed in the river and found by mudlarkers. So lots of potential there. He was able to bring or show us some artifacts that he found, how to look for them, and why they're there. He gave us some history. This is one of my longest videos, but it's worth it because he's got so much information to share and so many cool things that were found. So he brought some of the treasures that he's found, metal detecting and also mudlarking, and it's really cool. There's some backstories to it. So please take the time to watch this video. It's packed full of stuff, literally finding needles in the haystack, or in this case rocks, finding gems in the rocks too. We found gems. He found gems. I don't have a permit. He found gems and showed us how he was finding them, which is amazing. He's got the eye for it. So please take the time to watch this video. It's a longer video than normal, but it's worth it. And definitely take the time to go to his channel and see sifinds Mudlark Thames, and subscribe if you like. Comment on his videos, watch his videos, and put on his videos, Practical Ken sent you. At least he'll know that came from me. You heard about him from me. So thank you for watching this, and I look forward to showing you this video. I'm pretty excited to show you this adventure I had in London, England, and just recently. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Have an awesome adventure with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to London Heathrow International Airport. Local time is 11:59 a.m. Please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened until the captain turns off the fasten seatbelt sign.
So it looks like we have this mudlarker here. We're supposed to meet sifinds. Let's see if this is he. Hey sir, what are you doing over here?
Hello there. We are mudlarking, which means looking for anything old and interesting down here on the River Thames foreshore once the tide goes out. We've only just started. We've got about an hour till low, so we've got about 3 hours of searching time. We can use detectors, we can use a trowel to scrape as well, and just use our eyes, and we'll find anything. We never know what's down here. There's always something to find, and no one goes home empty-handed. So you might find something as well.
Sifinds. All right, let's see what we can find. Oh, it looks like it's been burned, maybe?
Well, no, what happens is the mud dyes it. It stains
gotcha.
it. And then if you leave it exposed for a day or two, they go completely back to the original colour. But yeah, we like to look in between the crevices where things get caught. This is a particularly sort of bouldy, rocky area, so it's good for capturing things. But what we're looking for really is like man-made objects, because we've got the natural stone, the sand, the pebbles, but where we can see man-made colours such as rusty things or copper green or ideally silver and gold, but they're very rare. But it's the shape of things as well, so you can tell that, I mean, that is just a little stick, but if you cast your eyes over, this is quite interesting. It's not like the best find in the world. This there is a oyster shell.
Oh yeah.
So this would have been, staple food of the Victorians and going back to the Roman times. So yeah, these are really cool, because it's what they would have been eating. What we're finding down here, Ken, isn't necessarily the crown jewels. It's the everyday thing that the everyday man or woman dropped when they were coming down here for work or for, just enjoying themselves or just living by the river. So it was their casual losses that we're finding. This isn't going to be, you know, I mean, we do find some cool stuff and valuable stuff, but I get a buzz out of finding the everyday stuff, you know, the common man and woman's
I agree.
finds.
I agree. It's incredible.
Exactly. So, you know, just spoons and cutlery, things like that, or clay pipes, all the stuff you use on day to day. So sometimes we can't use a detector because you can see here, look how many nails, that's probably iron, you know, nails. You can just put your hand in and just dig out and just find it. And try to find a nice one. Nails, there you go, look at that.
That's a lot.
So these in this sort of 1 foot square, we've got, you know, 3 big nails and countless little ones. So what we do in this situation with scrape, but before we scrape, we've got a little pin there.
No way. That's literally finding the needle in the haystack. Look at that.
It's a tiny
Holy
pin.
cow.
I don't think that's anything.
Great
There's
eyes.
a little bit of glass there, but I don't think that's anything.
My gosh.
But yeah, these pins date back to Tudor times.
No way.
That probably is an old one as well. This
That's...
one's got a little handmade, it's very, very tiny, but it's got a handmade top to it. So they would have been someone's job to make these pins by hand.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you've ever heard the phrase pin money? It's like a little bit of money that you have to spend money on things. It's a bit of an old-fashioned phrase, but it came from when men would give their wives some money to buy pins to pop up all their dresses. So yeah, that's that.
That's awesome.
But we've got another little pin there.
Great eyes. Holy cow.
And this, oh, is that? Oh, that's nice. That's I think that's a little lace chape.
No way.
Yeah. So this lace chape, right? A bit like what I've got. Well, I haven't actually got one actually, but you know, on the end of your thing, you've got a chape to stop it from fraying.
Oh, no way.
So that will go. You can hold that. Yeah, we might be able to get a close up on that. That's yeah, that's quite an early little chape. So that would have been
great eyes. Holy cow.
Someone's, you know, like
Whoa.
you almost. Yeah, I do that all the time. I drop it and it. So yeah, that would have been on the end of.
You found 2 pins.
2 little pins. Yep.
Look at that.
So sometimes you don't. I mean, a lot of time you don't need a detector as long as you've got some
It's crazy.
half decent eyes and you're happy to get down on your hands and knees. If you find a nice little spot, you can just have a little scrape and see what you can find.
To find a pin in this chaos is incredible. Great eyes. Your eyes are definitely tuned in.
Yeah, I mean, it's not always true.
Oh my gosh.
There is little bits and bobs, so if you look carefully.
Look at that. Holy cow. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, look, there we go. That's not a pin, that's a bit of something else. I'm not sure, a bit of dress attire or something. But all these pins originated from when Queen Elizabeth brought out the fashion to have those big flowery dresses, and she had 10,000 pins in her dress when her maids got her ready to get it all that volume before we worked out, you know, how to make you know, dresses work without pins. So these pins were very fashionable when everyone else wanted to follow the Queen Elizabeth I style. So then everyone else had pins holding up their dresses and fluffing things out, you know, like those ruffles and stuff in the neck. So you won't be careful when you sat down if you was an Elizabethan, because you might find a pin in your bum. But all the pins that they used to use, we're now finding on the foreshore, you see?
Oh wow, medieval pot handle.
Medieval, yeah, definitely.
Very nice.
Post-medieval, I would say it's 16th, 17th century.
That's super old. We don't find hardly any of that.
Yeah, that would have been applied to the...
Very nice.
It might have been part of like a pipkin pot. If you look up pipkin, P-I-P-K-I-N, I reckon it's probably from one of those.
Very nice. Love it. That is pretty cool, yeah. I can see we can make jewelry out of slag and melted glass. That's pretty cool. Awesome.
It's always worth looking where it's eroding out. Oh, is that it there?
I see a bowl right by you.
Sorry?
There's a bowl right in front of you. Straight ahead. Part of a bowl. Yeah, sifinds are right. He's been finding. That's pretty cool. Wow.
I think so. I think it's lead.
Pretty heavy?
Yeah, I mean, it's just odd.
So it's hit and miss. Look at all the pipe stems here. This is incredible. To me, it's incredible. Look at all those white long things are pipe stems. See them? Mixed in with the bone. There's like 3 or 4 right there. Crazy. Look over there. It's part of a bowl. Awesome. Okay, Sai's calling me over. Must find something cool.
You have to excuse me, I've got a sore throat, so I'm sucking on a strepsil while we speak. But a little bit of information about the foreshore, if you come down here. So what happens is, the mud is anaerobic, which means no oxygen can get down on it, right? Which means the preservation of finds is pretty good if they're buried in the black mud. So what happens as well is we find brass that has been dropped when it was, you know, in situ when it's dropped, but it comes out looking like gold. But very often it's not, it's brass. And this is an example of what you can get as a little heart racer. Just down here, look, I've got a bit of brass there, and you could,
oh,
you know,
my
if you found that in the
gosh.
field, you think, wow. Unfortunately, that's probably just going to be a part of maybe like part of some shipping, or, you know, something industrial. But we'll dig out anyway. But you can see the effect that the Thames mud has on finds. So if this was a jeton or another brass coin or even a silver coin, it works pretty well in preserving it. Again, this is like a little hinge or something like that. But it comes up looking, you know,
beautiful.
Look at the quality of the finds on the Thames is so good because the anaerobic mud helps preserve it.
That is awesome.
So again, not the best find, but it's a nice bit of history.
Oh yeah,
about, or nice
brass.
bit of, science behind.
That'll
how
get
some of the
get your
finds
heart racing.
Yeah, I know. Well, the old timers, right? When the old timers were down digging at Billingsgate and Queenhithe, they would dig up gems and they think, oh my god, it's gold. And then when they realise they're brass, they would just toss them to one side. And you think, that's crazy, they're 1500, 1600 coins, but sometimes they weren't after that, they were quite common. They were just finding them, you know, by the bucket load. But now, the jetted brass is a really nice find, and I've got one, I'll show you one later on.
That'd be awesome.
So Ken found this, and I've just realised your GoPro's cracked, so you need a new one. So go and subscribe.
That's actually a preventative lens. That's a
Oh, is
safe,
it?
yes.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So go and make sure, go and watch more Ken's videos so he can get a few quid and buy himself a new GoPro. But anyway, what Ken pointed out, actually, getting his eye in, as we do, because at first it's a big jumbled mess down here, but you get your eye in down here, and Ken's found this, which is the base of a wine bottle circa 1860. And that would have been a nice free-blown glass. Yeah, it might be a shade earlier, 1840, 2060. And so yeah, it's really cool. These
Nice.
make nice little trays for your finds, so you can turn them upside down and use them as a little bowl. But you can see where this has been in the river for 150 odd years, it's got an iridescence to it. In fact, I'll pick you up another piece of glass, which has got some really nice iridescence to it as well.
Oh wow, check that out.
And that would have been the base of like a medicine bottle or something. You can see like the hexagonal shape. But over the years it's earned that luster,
It's beautiful.
that iridescent colour, and if you catch it in the right light,
Oh yeah.
it really pops, you know, and it's beautiful. So sometimes if you get a complete bottle that's been in the mud, that anaerobic mud we spoke about earlier, all the salts and stuff leaches over it and creates this film that we call iridescence, and it looks beautiful and it flakes off, so you've got to be really careful. You've got to apply Vaseline and Renaissance wax to keep it on there.
Awesome.
Glass.
Cool. I don't know if you can see it. I think we found a bottle stopper. Put that out the side. See if you can recover it. Okay, Sai retrieved it for me so I could look at it. I think it's a stopper. It's actually got a bubble in the middle there too. So yeah, that's pretty cool. It's found right there on the edge. Got my chain. Geese. They're actually friendly geese here. I haven't been attacked by them. In Michigan, we end up geese have no problems chasing people. So, are those swans? Those swans? Those are swans. Oh God, I need more sleep. Jet lag. What'd you find?
Hello man, this is a bit strange.
Whoa.
Do you think that's a coin?
Whoa.
Look, you can see writing on it or something.
Token? Maybe?
I don't know. That's definitely got some letters writing on it. Might say deposit.
Really?
Can you read that? Can you see the letters on that? It might not come up well on your GoPro.
It's not coming up very well on the GoPro.
Switch to the other phone. Switch to the other one. But
So what do you think that is? It's a...
that's a good find there, Ken. You've got a bit of old glass. You've got the pontil scar there, so that would have been cracked off the blowpipe once it had been hand blown. Nice old glass as well, good colour. It's got lots of lead in it as well, because you can tell by the colour. It's got that blackish feel to it. And I think it probably would have been a little table ornament, or maybe an ointment cup, or maybe a small glass. Not very big, because look at the base, it's tiny, so it would have been very small little, I don't know, not sure what it would have been. It might have been a flower, posy holder. It's hard to say, but it's old, and I think it's Georgian, so we're talking like, I read 1700s, yeah.
Nice.
That's fine, dude.
Cool. Okay, so he's calling me over.
So they say you should wear gloves on the foreshore. That's because of hygiene. There's lots of sewage come out of some of the various inlets and stuff. I never wear gloves because I like to feel the history, but if you ever go down here, you should wear gloves, and this is the reason why. Come follow me.
Oh boy. Yeah.
That's a rat.
That's a rat. All right. So he's calling me over. This is very slippery, so I gotta be careful. It's wet.
Sorry. I'm not sure if I can find them now. So what I'm looking for, well not looking for, what I've found, garnets.
Oh, no way. Check that out.
So this is a little garnet spot.
Very nice.
But they're heavy, so they're going to be quite low down on the...
That's really cool.
It's cool, isn't it?
Very cool.
Here we go, there's one, is that one?
Oh. She just found this coin sitting right next to us here. That's so awesome. Let's see what he...
I'm going to give it a little bit of a rub.
Yeah.
A little bit of a rub. It's very warm, but I think...
Oh, it's still a coin. That's so awesome.
There's a bit of a legend.
Oh, very nice though, yeah.
It's strange, it's like it's almost been like
worn on one side, isn't it?
Wow.
If I was to guess, I'd say that's Charles II, but
Okay.
Very nice. Congratulations,
it's an old
that's
coin.
awesome. Fine.
It's very nice.
Oh yes, I can see.
Check
So-
that out.
A little handful of garnets, not native to London, but we think they were brought over for either working in jewellery, or there's another school of thought they were using abrasives like sandpaper, because they're so hard that they were used, yeah, they were broken down into little smaller pieces and used for sanding things, like maybe all the wood on the ships needs to be, you know,
yeah.
smoothed down,
That makes sense.
so they made sandpaper from them.
Wow. That's awesome.
So this looks like some sort of table, but this is the actual bed of the foreshore, and all this has been eroded. See how it was set on these pilings? So this was the original height of the foreshore, and the clippers and the boats have worked out and eroded it all these years, which is why we're finding the layers of history. But today we're going to use it as a finds table and see what I've had up over the years.
Let's check it out.
So I brought down some of my best finds for Ken and yourselves to have a look at. These are all found on the Thames foreshore over about 10 years. So let's start off with the best one, shall we? Well, in my opinion, one of the best ones. And found in about 2013. This is a Dutch tobacco tin, and it's hand engraved on both sides of a Dutch tavern. And this dates to around 1750. And so this would have belonged to a wealthy merchant, and he would have kept all his tobacco in there, because tobacco was an expensive hobby, I suppose, as it is today really. But if you had some money and some wealth, you'd have yourself a tobacco tin, and these were made mainly in the Netherlands and imported and beautifully hand engraved there. I'm not sure if you can make out the detail of that tavern there, but it's absolutely incredible. And when I first found it, it was just a little glint of brass in the mud like we had earlier. Remember that piece of brass we had that we just saw an edge? And that's exactly what I found. And I didn't know what it was at first. I thought it was an Indian offering or a Japanese offering or something like that, because we get lots of offerings down here from the Hindu community, and so they often throw things in the river as part of their rituals and whatnot. And I thought it might have been that, so I threw it in my mate's bucket. And then later on at the pub, we bumped into an he worked in the sale room. He was an auctioneer, and he told me, no, he got their 18th century Dutch tobacco tin. Cracking find, one of my favourite finds. Going on tobacco, obviously we've got the clay pipes. Ken's found a lovely bowl today, very similar to this one. It looks long, but this would have been 3 times as long. This is a church warden style pipe, so it would have been probably about this long at its birth, and then as tobacco clogged it up and the tar and stuff, it got knocked down to a point where they thought, well, it's not trendy anymore to have a little one, I'll go and get myself a nice long one to show my wealth. But these were disposable, that's why we find so many. You'd smoke it 3 or 4 times, it got clogged up, it got broke or whatever, but then saying they got broke, they're very robust. We find these in crazy good condition, and sometimes they're decorated like this one, and this is a claw and egg pipe, and so these come in different varieties, but basically, yeah, it's like a dragon's claw or a chicken claw holding what they think is like an egg. So that's a cracking little find there. They're not too common, but they're always lovely to find. So this is made using clay, and these are cast in mould. And another thing that is used the same material is this. Now, Ken, do you know what this is?
I don't.
You don't? Well, it's a Georgian wig curler. So you get wig curlers, or you get curlers today that the ladies put in their hair to make their hair curly. This is a Georgian one, again 1750, same era as our tobacco tin and our clay pipe there. And yeah, these are rare to find complete. Normally they're broken, but this is using the same pipe material, that clay, that sort of earthenware kind of porous clay.
Caitlinite, I think they call it. Is it Caitlinite?
Oh right, maybe. I'm not sure exactly the scientific term, but sometimes, very rarely, what they used to do, they used to put newspaper in them first to stop the hair sticking to the thing, and sometimes you can actually see the reverse print of the newspaper of the time. Very rare to find them in that condition, but a long one like that is perfectly fine. Sometimes there's maker's mark on the sides, but 250-year-old wig curler.
It's incredible.
Because back then people had knits, and it's very trendy to have those big Charles II type wigs, and a lot of guys who had the money got wigs, wanted to keep them in tip-top condition with this.
Wow.
So down on the river there's lots of barges. Back then the Thames was so full of industry, you could actually walk from one side to the other by hopping on the boats. There was that many barges, many people working and living on the river, and you had to keep things secure, so you padlock your valuables in a chest using one of these gorgeous barge padlocks. So this is a bit later, this is about 1840 to 1880, that sort of era, and very often they would write their name on the front so that they knew it belonged to them. It might have the name of the guy that made the padlock, because they're very proud of everything they made, and they would often put their name of the barge owner or the company owner. So this is great. This is like a little wee business card that we can use to now research where this comes from and work out where it was originally used. Obviously either the key broke in the lock or it just got jammed, so they threw this one out, as they did with a lot of them. But yeah, this one, Richard's Maker, that is Wemmings. I can't think what the bottom line says, but it's in one of my videos at some point.
Check out his video.
Yeah, that's quite an old find. But I think these come up. Well, these come up a lot more regularly than they do now. But you might, if you get 2 a year, that's pretty good going. While we're on the iron finds, let's talk about this bad boy. This was found in a creek, not necessarily the Thames, and we thought it was live. It's a Mills grenade, hand grenade. So it would have had a pin and a catch there. Obviously, you know about grenades. Pull the pin and lob it. But as you can see, this one's hollow. So we think this is either a training round or it wasn't a good one. It may be in a reject, we don't know. But the Home Guard used to practice with empty grenades to, you know, work out the action, how to throw them. Might have had smoke in there or something like that. But we had the police down to check it was all right, and the ordnance squad, and they were quite content that it was safe, completely null, so we were allowed to take that one home. So kudos to those guys for letting us take that. Really cool. Similar shape to the grenade, but something completely different. We're talking prehistoric here. Anybody got any clues on what that could be? Well, it is in fact a tooth from a adolescent mammoth, a woolly mammoth tooth. It was only because my friend found one that I knew what it was, because you might just overlook that thinking it's just a piece of sedimentary rock. But yeah, gorgeous little grinding. See the tooth, that's the bit they would have used for grinding. Half of that would have been covered up in the gum like that. And it's small, so it's from a juvenile or adolescent kind of small woolly mammoth, 30,000 years old approximately. Crazy find, really happy with that. Jump forward now, back to the near, not modern day, but maybe early 9th or late 19th, early 20th. All the taverns on the river and around London, a lot of them had these things called pub flasks. And so they printed the name of the inn or pub on the side, and it was kind of like the off license of the day. You guys would call it a liquor store in America. So where you go and get your bit of liquor, there wasn't stores back then in the day. You had to go to the pub. And so what they did is they emblazoned their name on there so that it gets a bit of free advertising. So this would have been filled up with gin or whiskey, and then bought over the counter so you could finish off drinking at home once the pub had shut. Or maybe you were going away somewhere and you wanted to take a little bit of liquor with you on the way. So that's a lovely piece of branding. Old Kent Road, that's a very famous old road. You can probably look that up, which I have done, and some of these pubs are still there, some of them have been knocked down, or some have been blitzed in the war. So again, it's a lovely little, I like to call it a little history business card that we can look up and research what's gone on back in the day. And something a bit random, just because it's leather and it's really cute, it's a little child's sole from a shoe. And yeah, that's pretty much how it was found. You can see there, it's got the stitching. So yeah, poor little urchin was down here, their shoe fell apart and they probably stepped away, leaving their sole in the mud, where we come and find it 200 years odd later. And yeah, leather's quite hard to preserve because you have to kind of put oils and stuff in it. I'm not sure I did too much of this one, but you can still see exactly what it's supposed to be. So they're the main finds, the sort of relics if you like, and I've got a few coins over here. I'll come and show you these. So in my hand I have a handful of silver. Some of these are found on the Thames foreshore, some of these are found metal detecting fields, which I also do. I'd say half and half on these ones. So if you look down there, I've got a couple of coppers there, we'll talk about them in a sec. But you've got ones from Charles II, Queen Victoria, Elizabeth I, going back to medieval hammered coins, which Edward I. I think this one's a slap token. So what they would do, they would re-stamp them when they got to a certain degree of worn amount. But this is just a selection of lovely silver coins. This one's a love token, so this one would have been given to a prospective lady, possibly, and you'd wear it down and you give her your love token, and then she would either take it home and you'd be in. You'd be lucky that day, or she threw it away, she wasn't interested, so you'd have to try and find another suitor. But these little copper coins on the end here, these are farthings. These are from the reign of James I, I believe, or Charles I, that sort of era. And so we find these down here quite commonly because we think these were probably used as payment to cross the river. So obviously a lot of these were dropped as well. So from silver coins to copper coins, we've got a nice handful here, and there's a brass one in there as it goes. So here we've got relatively common, I know you guys like to call them a KG3 or KG2, and this one is a beautiful halfpenny dating to 1774, and the Britannia side is especially nice because you can even see the Union Jack on that side, looking absolutely terrific. This one's George III. I didn't bother cleaning this one up, but that dates around 1807. Again, another halfpenny there. Relatively common, but always lovely to find. But what I like especially are these traders tokens. Now what happens is these were issued by taverns and coffee houses and butchers and bakers and candlestick makers and anyone else who had an establishment that wanted to create their own coinage so that they could then serve their customers, because back then it was very tight in terms of getting small currency. So they made their own for about 20 years. This one's particularly nice. It's a beautiful coffee shop. It's a Turk's Head. You've got the name of the guy that actually did it as well. Let's have a quick look. Lawrence Lane, that one. And you can see there's a hole in it. Maybe, if I hold it at a certain angle. Unfortunately, it's gone straight through the Turk's Head. But that's the way it goes. But they did that because these tokens or coins stopped being issued in around 1690. No, yeah, about 1690 or 1670, 1680. They stopped being used, so they didn't want them to be used as legal tender because it means that money was coming out of the crown. So they stamped them very often, or they took a chip out the corner sometimes as well. But you can see on this one here, we've got the words "his half penny." Penny spelt wrong, P-E-N-Y, because again, spelling wasn't their strong point back then. Again, this would have been a farthing, a quarter of a penny, and was used as short change. So if you was a merchant up here on the Thames and you wanted your customers to come and give them change, you'd have your own currency issued, you'd have your own coinage, say, issued. A lot of it was done at the Tower Mint as well. It was kind of unofficial coinage. And then as soon as they realised they were losing a lot of money because everyone was making their own coinage, they put an end to it in about 1680. So all this stuff was around not far from the Great Fire of London. You might have even seen the Great Fire of London. That is how cool and old these coins are. One last coin I'm going to show you. I've got plenty more, but I've got to keep it brief. It's probably one of my oldest coins from the Thames, and it's a Roman coin.
Oh my gosh, it's a great shape too.
Yeah, it's cracking. And the other side has got a couple of standing legions. I think it's Constantine, if I remember correctly. But if you want to go and check out that video, you might have to go through a few videos to find it. But I think this one might be on the thumbnail, that side up. But again, it's common for the field in England to find Roman coins. Not so common on the foreshore. But I was absolutely buzzing when I found that beautiful Roman coin.
That is cool.
I'm going to flip it.
There we go. That looks amazing.
I will show you one more coin as it goes. But look at that guy on there. I think it's one of the saints. I think it's Saint Paul, if I remember correctly.
Oh wow, that's a great details too.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. The other side isn't quite. Actually, no, the other side's not too bad. Yeah, it's a while ago since I filmed this, so I've sort of forgotten what they are. I'm always on to the next hunt, always trying to find the next find.
Well, they definitely need to check out your videos to see.
Please
They're
do.
definitely going to check out your videos because a lot to see how these came out of the ground and how you found them. And
So this is one of my coolest finds. Is actual treasure, which means in this country when something is 300 years old or more and made of a precious metal, i.e. silver and gold, and isn't a single coin, it's classed as treasure. The Treasure Act has slightly evolved recently where it's started to include bronze finds like hoards and things like that, but in the main we think of treasure as things like this. And this is a 14th century, 1300s Fede ring. That's F-E-D-E. And you sometimes see these rings now, modern versions of them. They're basically two clasping hands, sort of represents love. So this was probably a ring given or received by a loved one to another. And yeah, silver. And once they recorded it took them about 3 years to go through the process. It was finally disclaimed, which means they have no interest in acquiring it. If they did want to acquire it, they would give a small reward, and it is small. But again, it's not worth a great deal of money, but it is to me in terms of, like, you know, having found it and being the first person to touch it in 600 years, and that's what this hobby is all about.
it's amazing.
Putting your hands on history.
Absolutely, that's awesome. Really cool.
So we haven't talked about buttons, and we find loads of buttons on the foreshore, but some are a little bit special, including this one. And you can see there's two hearts there, and they represent the love between Charles I and Catherine Braganza. So a bit like a royal wedding you get today, you know, with the royal weddings, etc. at Westminster Abbey and all that. It was the same back then. Big fans of the royalists, or the royals. Or you may not be, you might have been an anti-royalist, but a lot of people were for this marriage. And so they went around with cufflinks and buttons with the two hearts that represented that marriage. These come up now and again, sometimes they're in silver as well, but it's always nice to find your own one. Because
And what's that one made out of?
pewter, probably, that
Okay.
one. Yeah, pewter find, that one.
That's great.
But they, you know, it's a bit like today, you'll get mugs, just for the common person. This wouldn't have been an extravagant person, it would probably been just someone with, you know, just a few buttons on their, you know, attire, and they might have replaced one with that. And just to show their allegiance to the royal family at the time. They were obviously doing something right because they started printing these in support of them. So you're either a royalist or you're an anti-royalist. So if you didn't like what was going on, you wanted the king to be beheaded. If you liked what they were doing, you start getting your souvenirs printed and cast and wore with pride.
That's awesome.
So here we have a watch winder. So watch winding keys like this were separate from the watch. So this had to be looked after, otherwise, you know, you wouldn't be able to wind your watch. Later on they started becoming, later on they were integral with the actual watch itself, so you couldn't lose them. But back then these were quite specialised little things, and I think it's like a lion's head in the middle with two cannons either side of it. So maybe a military man had this. It's a pretty cool little style. I don't think this one's on a video. I'm not sure if I actually filmed it. I found this before I was doing YouTube. So some of these finds here you wouldn't even see on my channel. So they're pretty rare.
Really cool. Check that out. I don't want to drop it, so I'm going to be very careful. That is beautiful.
Very tactile, isn't it? Handmade.
That's
Would
amazing.
have had full of ink. Would have had a little cork in there. And then when you were writing your letters, before the days of emails and stuff, you'd have to.
It's an inkwell, right?
Catching me wrapping up all my goodies now.
Oh yeah. Oops. Was it for people that don't pay the bill?
That's right, you better behave yourself. Hang a mirror. So we've just done a bit of mudlarking and now we're going to go for a drink of Coca-Cola or something soft. But I thought I'd show you guys this amazing pub. This is the Prospect of Whitby in Wapping. And somewhere out there is where they used to hang all the pirates. And in signature of that, they've got a gallows right behind me as a memento of the time when they used to do it. I don't think these gallows works anymore. But,
Don't want to try it out?
I'm not going to try it out, no. This is a really cool historic area, not bad for mudlarking as well. But this pub, been here for 400 or 500 years. They used to hang pirates here, can you believe it? It's crazy.